This is Charles Grievous with GoBlackKnights.com. I'm here with former Army Black Knights Apache, which is outside linebacker, defensive back, and now former Las Vegas Raiders Malkelm Morrison. Malkelm, first of all, welcome and thank you so much for being with us, but also belated congratulations on your recent graduation from the United States Military Academy of West Point.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Great. So needless to say, we have several key topics that we want to talk about. So we're going to get right into it. So let's go back to the graduation, which I believe was on May 22nd. For those of you, or for those that may not know, you took time away from the Las Vegas Raiders minicamp and to participate in your graduation. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. So can you kind of paint the picture for us, meaning, what was your mindset, relative to, transitioning from a competitive NFL football camp culture to being back at West Point in a kind of celebratory fashion for your graduation?
Yes, sir. Well, first off, the Raiders was very, they didn't want me to miss this special opportunity. They know how very people get graduated at universities, and especially at West Point. They wanted me to come back, so they made sure everything worked out where I was able to come back. And then just that transition back, I was only out there for, at that point, maybe around like 10 days. And I came back, and it was just crazy, seeing the room I've been in for like the last 3 years is cleared out already. And then I was scrambling that morning before graduation, trying to find my clothes. My roommate told me to put them somewhere. And then I had to walk all the way back up to the stadium. So that whole lifestyle, was just back to the Army, scrambling and hurry up and wait. And we standing around for a while. But, that's always a crazy opportunity. I mean, I didn't get to participate in grad week, which is definitely a special experience for the firsties. Kind of like a tradition. I didn't participate in that. And for me, kind of felt like I got off a flight, did graduation real quick, then was on another flight. So I never really got to really soak it in. But as more days go by, post-graduation, I'm starting to realize like, yeah, I made it through, but it's still not fully, it still didn't fully hit me yet. So sometimes I'm still a little shocked, but.
I understand. So it's really interesting because from our interaction with you over the past 4 years plus, and when I say 4 years plus, that includes, covering you during your recruiting as a high school senior. You have a very low profile sometimes, kind of even a low temperament, if you will. However, I saw a few photos of you at the graduation, and you were all smiles, man. So obviously that day was very special for you.
Yes, sir.
So what was that moment like? Meaning you're returning back, as you stated, back to the grounds of West Point for the graduation, reconnecting not only just with the football brotherhood, but obviously your classmates who are graduating with you, the staff, the professors, and of course your mom and dad and family were there. What was that like, particularly having your mom and dad there for that moment?
It kind of just makes you think of like just life and just really figuring out who you became and, who you're going in to be the last 4 years, going through this 47-month experience at West Point. Everyone who made it through West Point is going to tell you that they struggled in some aspect at this school. And if they don't, then they lying. So that happiness just comes from, overcoming so much, personally, emotionally, mentally, whatever, physically, whatever your weakness was, because it definitely got exposed at your time at West Point. And, the people you meet there, like, it's going to sound like a broken record, but those are the people who's going to be in your wedding, and those are the people you're going to be the closest with for the rest of your life. And a lot of people don't believe it coming out of high school. I know the 17 to 18-year-old who went to high school in New Rochelle didn't, really understand that. I said, nah, I got my boys back in high school, the boys I grew up with, like, nobody really going to probably take their place. But there's a lot of people I met at West Point, who really impacted my life and really changed my life. So, just thankful for that opportunity and just seeing those people and those emotions on that day really come out. It's just like, man, we went through 4 years of this. Like, we went through COVID, y'all. Like, we ain't leave for a whole year. Like, no other schools really did that. Like, we couldn't leave the campus for a whole year. And we came back June 1st. So it's just like when you put it like that, it's just like we just overcame so much, and you seen the blood, sweat, and tears that went along every day with the people next to you. And then, like you said, like my parents, like we had doubts when me coming out of high school about coming here. Was my mom's first option, but wasn't even my first option. But looking at it back now, it's like we battled so much at my time at West Point, and they were there every step of the way. Even when I would get distant a little bit, getting caught up with West Point. Um, I feel like I always made it back to communicating with them because they're an important part of the journey, and without them, I'm not where I am today. Um, just growing up, just on the field and even off the field, just with my morals, values, how I treat people, how I communicate, how I represent organizations, and my last name. So, just seeing them there, uh, that excited, that really, and, it hits different. And I don't want to speak for the rest of the class of 22, but I would assume the same thing. Like they were probably happy because they didn't let their parents down once they went across that stage. So that's really where I'm coming from with that.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So let's kind of go back in time, if you will. And I'm referring to this past NFL draft. Your name wasn't called, but according to sources, the Raiders were, one team particularly that had their eyes on you. And as the draft concluded, they hadn't drafted a defensive back, which I'm assuming was music to the ears of you and your family. So by the end of that Saturday, I believe the Raiders were looking at you as a nickel back, cornerback kind of player, and had reached out to you to be part of the silver and black, if you will. So on May 11th, you signed a rookie contract. And if I'm not mistaken, even maybe a little bonus there. I'm not sure how that worked out for you, but you signed a contract.
Yes, sir.
So first of all, how was that experience, just knowing that you were in a position to play for one of the most notable NFL franchises, but also one of the most notable NFL brands?
Yes, sir. So that whole experience obviously just went by quick. But I learned a lot. And first thing I always say, so I signed it whatever that Thursday was. I think it was 11th or 12th, whatever that Thursday was that week. That's when I got down there and I had to sign it so I participate as and be part of the undrafted free agent signee groups. So I had to sign it. So that was an experience that went by quick. But not everybody gets to do that. So I'm grateful for that opportunity. And just speaking on the Raiders organization, Mr. Davis, and the history that him and his father have and implemented into that organization is, miles ahead of other organizations. Coach McDaniels, even though this is his first year, the way the rest of the team has rallied around him, the coaching staff has rallied around his values and morals. He's a great person. Just that short time I've been able to communicate with him. He's someone who truly cares and definitely a player type of coach. The GM, Mr. Ziegler, very supportive. That whole organization is first class, and obviously, again, I just want to thank you for that opportunity, as that was once in a lifetime opportunity, and I can't thank them enough. Everyone part of that staff. Yeah.
Okay. And, you and I talked before we started this interview, and I was sharing with you that I'm a firm believer in identity and destiny. You got to know who you are to know where you're going, particularly as a young person. That is a challenge. The worst thing that can happen is to have to cook out in the field, eating the battle, and have the general inside the kitchen cooking the food. Hence, identity and destiny. But approximately 2 weeks after signing the NFL contract and participating in the mini camp, sources say that you were actually a strong possibility of landing on the roster, making the roster, joining the likes of former teammates at Army, Elijah Riley, who's with the Jets, Cole Christensen over with the Chargers, and you have Brett Toth with the Eagles and John Radican with the Seahawks. However, something changed. you made a decision that you wanted to step away from playing the NFL, or in more general, playing football, which I'm sure was not an overnight decision. Can you please kind of walk us through what led you to that decision, but also how long, were you contemplating saying I need to step away and no more football for Malkelm Morrison?
Yeah. I'll dive into it a little bit. So originally it really started probably about a year ago, where that's where I was just like, I fell out of love with the game. I kind of stepped up. I knew I was going to finish my career at West Point, but I wasn't planning on going to NFL. And then kind of throughout the season, I knew I was done. I was done. And then something changed, and I heard there were some people talking to me, about the opportunity and how why not just do, the pro day, just give yourself a chance. Like, even if you don't want to do it, just why not? Like, not a lot of people get to do that. So then I tried to do that. I did that, and the Raiders, I got blessed with opportunity from the Raiders, and that's once in a lifetime. And I've been playing football my whole life, and I went through a lot playing football, especially at West Point. That triple option. But just in general, football is a violent sport, and it can really take a lot out of you, over the years, and just conversations I've had with, teammates, roommates, family, coaches about, everything. I just the best decision for me long term was, long term down the road later in my life, um, is to step away now. Um, was for some unforeseen, I'll say some physical, health issues that came up. Um, personally, while I was at the Raiders camp, that made me think even deeper. So, just so some things like that where I was just like, dang, I'm still, like this is it's your career now, so it's really like you really got to be invested in it all the time, man. Um, the way these issues had arisen while over there with my health, um, I just decided the best thing for me was to just tap out or retire, and just definitely fulfill my duty and service as a lieutenant. That's not a problem for me. I went to West Point for a reason. Learned a lot about leadership and growth, and I said it's going to be better for me long term if I stepped away from the game right now to protect myself and those people around me, and those people I represent, than it would be then I might as well. I need to go to the army. So just stepping away from the game was just the best thing for me and those around me, just for my body and everything like that.
Understood. Needless to say, your two biggest fans and supporters, your mom and dad, Desiree and Patrick Morrison. When did you let them know about your decision, and can you go back in time and recall their initial reaction?
Um, so when I told them I wasn't going to do the pro day, it was back in like late October. I said I was done with football after the season.
Mhm.
They were supportive because they kind of knew where I stood over the years, so they kind of supportive. And then I told them about this final decision maybe a few days before. I don't know the exact day or whatever, but it was a few days before I made the decision. Probably a few days before graduation, maybe. Um, and they were kind of shocked at first, um, probably because I didn't communicate it as well. Because it's just hard to understand unless you're in my shoes or went through that stuff at West Point, kind of, just that, I'm not gonna say that grind, but kind of that's that work and the toll. Um, I kind of just didn't communicate that the best, but then they understood. Like you said, they've always been my biggest two supporters. They'll do whatever to, get to one of my games for whatever sport I was playing growing up. So it was initially they were shocked, but then they understood my decision over the time. The more we talked and the more we communicated about it, even still to this day, we'll still just keep communicating, still trying to build that foundation. Yeah.
Okay. Now I won't lie to you. I was looking forward to you playing, man. So
Yeah.
you have a tremendous talent, but obviously your calling is a little different right now. So looking ahead, when and where will you be stationed? And I also understand that you'll be around a couple of former 2021 teammates like Julian McDuffie. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So where will you be stationed? What's the next move for you?
So when I was so when we got our branch and post, air defense artillery on Fort Sill. Julian is the same thing. He's air defense artillery on Fort Sill. So my bad. It's gonna take a couple months for me to get processed back into the DOD and West Army system, but eventually, I should be down there with him. I'll be behind him a little bit, but eventually, I'll probably be in close proximity to him.
Okay, great. And the final question, are you anxious to get this part of your career and life started, if you will?
Um, I'm a big believer in just kind of faith and like my faith and just God, it's kind of creating the correct pathway for you. And that pathway wasn't for me, and this is my direct pathway. So I would say I'm anxious in the fact that it's a new chapter in my life, and this football stage is over. The West Point stage is over, so that's two big things in my life that are really over. So yeah, I'm anxious in that sport, in that part to finally I'm on my own, got my own job, like I'm managing, I'm getting on with my life, but at the same time, I'm just I'm just a big believer in God. Just it's all gonna plan out itself. So at the same time, I'm not rushing anything. I'm kind of going day by day with the flow, getting a lot of my things in order. Um, paperwork and everything like that. So I'm doing stuff on my end, but at the same time, it's a new chapter in my life, and I'm be excited. I'm excited. Um, just ready to do something different. It was a big decision in my life, and I think it was the best decision for me. I'm having to move on.
Awesome. Well, listen, first of all, thank you so much for your time this evening. I know that blessings and success will surely follow you on the journey, and we look forward to keeping in touch with you. Tell your parents we said hello as well, and talk to you in a bit.
Yes, sir. Thank you.